Okay, hello and welcome, Chris here, and in this video I'm going to give you a demonstration of how I choose niches. I've spent quite a few videos really going through the niche selection process, and if you remember, the niche selection is really the first step. It's step one, find a good niche. Step two, come up with design ideas and get the design ideas on a Teespring t-shirt, and then step three, go live and send traffic with Facebook ads. So we still focused on step one, which is choosing niches. It's a very important step, but despite the fact that I've spent so much time talking about it, it's also a step that realistically you shouldn't be spending too much time on. And as you get quicker and quicker, as you start to understand and learn the system, you'll be spending less and less time, and it will become very, very quick to you as to which niches are going to be good and which ones won't be. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to walk through the process and show you, basically me doing step one. And it's only going to take probably 5, 10, 20 minutes, something like that. So, it's hopefully going to be very useful for you. So the first thing, which I've mentioned several times and I'll say it again, is I've provided a cheat list of niches that I know to be good, they're proven. Either I've made sales or I know people that have made sales in those niches. Just go through it, go through the list, and have a good look at it. Um, the thing is as well is, as I mentioned, you need to have an audience of between 100,000 and a million people on Facebook, and we also want there to be buyers, and ideally buyers of t-shirts. You want there to be t-shirts for sale in our particular niche. So the process is we brainstorm a few keywords, a few niche keyword ideas, then we check to see if we can advertise it, can we actually reach them on Facebook, is there an audience of 100,000 to a million people, and then finally we look and say, are there t-shirts or at least products for sale in that niche, because if not, then there's no point in us continuing on. And so really there are three kind of key steps there: brainstorm, come up with niche keyword ideas, can we advertise them on Facebook, and are there t-shirts or products for sale. And what I like to do to make things nice and simple is I'll keep several tabs open. I'll have you can't see them, but there's tabs open up here at the top of the page. Facebook, TView, Amazon, eBay. I'll go through them all in a moment. But I have all these tabs open, and I'm just dropping keywords in. I come up with an idea. Oh, scuba diving. Let me just search it on Facebook. No, nothing there. Okay, get rid of that one. Let me try the next one. Firefighter. Let me put that in. Oh, loads of results. Okay, good. Let me just drill down a bit. Okay, cool. Let me move over to eBay and Amazon. It's the firefighter t-shirts. Oh wow, there's loads of them. Oh, actually there might be too many. Let me check on Teespring, TView. Oh yeah, there's too many. I think I'm going to have to sub-niche this. Let me go back to Facebook ads and see if I can find a variation of firefighters that's a bit smaller. So it's kind of like this constant back and forth process. It's very, very quick, it's very organic, but the basic idea is I quickly dart between all of these different sites, these different tabs I've got open in my browser, running these searches and quickly discounting niches, changing niches, and moving along as I go through the process. And again, feel free to change to a new and more encouraging niche keyword. So if you go in with a keyword which you say, scuba diving, and you find out that actually scuba diving isn't the big thing, and what's actually the big thing on Facebook and on t-shirt sites is deep sea diving, or you go in thinking that it's about golfing and it's actually female golf players seems to be the kind of big sub niche, feel free to drop that original keyword that you had and go with the new one. Again, this process should be quick, it should be fairly organic, and we shouldn't have to overthink it too much if it works as it should. So just a quick recap before we dive in. Here are the steps. Step one, we brainstorm. So we're literally just coming up with a list of keywords at this point. Write them down, just open Notepad and let the words just pour out of you. Labrador, music production, Michael Jackson, drummers, mechanic, firefighters. Just write the words down. Step two, we check Facebook and see if there are interests that we can reach to build an audience of between 100,000 and a million people on Facebook ads who are 18 plus in the USA. Try playing around with different keywords, sub niches of a keyword if it's too big. If we spend like 2 or 3 minutes and we can't find a good keyword that's at least 100,000 people, We ditch that niche, we get rid of it, and we move on to the next one. Step three, we're looking for products and buyers, ideally t-shirts. And to do this, we check TView, Amazon, eBay, Google Shopping. We're looking for buyer intent. Ideally, we want there to be t-shirts for sale on several sites. At the very least, we want there to be some products. I'll also use my t-searcher software for this, but I'll save that for another video. And then finally, I'll also sometimes do a search on Google Images. And I'll search the keyword plus meme, t-shirt, funny, quote, that kind of thing, and see if there are just general ideas that I could use and reappropriate for my designs. But this stage, this fourth stage, I suppose, isn't really necessary in most cases if there are t-shirts for sale, because your best bet is to look at the t-shirts that are selling and use those for ideas, more so than looking at general results on Google Images. It's best to search several niches at once to not become too attached to any one niche, and that's why I recommend searching in batches of between 5 and 20 keywords. Like I said before, this should be a quick process, and it should really be a process of elimination. It's not so much to find the really good niches, because you will not know what the good niches are. Probably once you've actually even created your designs and you've set up your Facebook ads, and you go live with 5 different ads at once, you're probably, even at that point, having researched the interest properly and having created the designs, you still probably won't know what the good niches are. So you're certainly not going to know with any kind of degree of certainty at this early stage what the good niches are. But this is really about getting rid of the very, very bad niches. So without further ado, here is a quick video of me finding niches that I've basically just brainstormed. So this is all of step one rolled into one single video. So this is a list of niches that I've just kind of wrote down now in the last sort of 10 minutes while I've had a coffee. Firefighters, these are people whose profession is to be firefighters. I also know from experience that this can there's a lot of related sub niches, and I also know that sometimes family members can be, like moms of firefighters can be a good one. Pilots, people who fly either commercial airlines or people who do it as a hobby. I've actually done a few hobbyist lessons myself. Again, it's a good example of looking in your own experience for niches. Warcraft, this is like a video game, a huge online video game. The reason I've included this is I have some friends who play it. It's like a recurring billing product, so you actually have to pay, I think, like $10 a month just to use it, and they make like $1 billion a year. So I know that these guys are buyers. Typists, just a random one. The reason for including this one is that, like, I know that it's kind of an old-fashioned profession, and probably not a lot of people do it. It was maybe big in the 80s or the 90s, perhaps, before transcription and all those things kind of got big, and when PCs just kind of came into fashion and typewriters were still being used. So it's maybe not one that I think is going to work, but at the same time, I kind of like including old-fashioned ones, because very often the older people, the people in the 50s to 60s, are the ones who not only have got money, but who like buying these kinds of t-shirts. So in general, I like to look at the older kind of market. Stamp collectors, again, similar kind of thing. I don't know anyone who's done stamp collecting, but it just popped into my head, and so I thought, why not include it? Bird watchers, same. I don't know anyone who does bird watching, but I just thought I might as well give it a search. Within this video, it might be a bit entertaining. Science teachers, this is kind of like an example of a sub niche. So, we've talked about teachers as a niche, and I've also talked about this idea of being able to break a niche down into a smaller segment. Obviously, I could have put English teachers, Spanish teachers, but I put science teachers in there. Caretakers, people obviously who caretake, look after buildings, residential flats, schools, that kind of thing. Tattoo lovers, people who've got tattoos, maybe tattoo artists. I'm not entirely sure. Dentists, profession. This is another profession. Taxidermists. Not even sure if I've spelt that right. This is like people who stuff animals. Bit of a weird one, but I like to include some weird ones. Surfers, people who like to surf. Kayaking, people who kayak. Deep sea diving, and travel agents, which is another profession. Oh, and there's a couple more I've listed here. Lizard owners, these are people who own lizards as pets. Drag racers, people who like to drag race cars, or maybe people who like to watch drag racing. I'm not entirely sure, don't know much about that niche. And journalists. So, I've just ran through all of those niches, and the thing about it, as I went through them, is you probably saw that there were some niches that I was quite confident in. So maybe I knew people. I'd done flying lessons myself. I knew people who played Warcraft, and then there were other niches that I was just like, I have no idea. Stamp collectors, typists, caretakers. These niches probably won't last 10 seconds, but I've put them in there because if you're probably thinking it's a bad niche before you've even tried, then probably most people won't even bother either. So it's good to have a big spread, and as I've said, it's good to search in batches, lots of keywords. There's maybe like 15 or 20 here, because you don't want to become detached to any of your niches. So as I've said, the first step is to search on Facebook, basically, and look for an audience size between 100,000 to a million people. So let me go over to Facebook. As usual, this is Facebook ads. Put any old URL in at the top, clicks the website, choose United States and 18 plus. We're not creating ads here. You don't need to. We're just going to use this to kind of throw around some ideas. So interests. So first one I'm going to start with is firefighter. So let me put firefighter in. And we always start with the broad keyword. Potential reach is 5 million people, which is too big. But you can see that straight away, as soon as I put firefighter in, just like with the bodybuilding example in the previous one, there's just tons and tons and tons of variations. So military firefighters. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe that's a sub niche, possibly. Let me just put that one in. 128,000 people, that's pretty good. Military fire. No, okay, so it's just that's the only one that comes up, but that could potentially be a sort of sub niche. But let me get rid of that. Let's try it again. Firefighter worldwide. Maybe that's like a website. A magazine for firefighters, an association of firefighters. Um, Another thing you can do, by the way, is you can put in the words and then a letter. So firefighter W, firefighter wife. Okay, that's good. And 54,000 people. So we could target that. So let me just go over here and straight away I'm just going to write some notes. So yes, definitely good niche, lots and lots of interests. Also, sub-niches found. We had firefighter wife, 54,000, which is small, but 54,000. What was it? Military firefighter was like 100,000 or something. And by the way, with firefighter wife, we could also. I'm not gonna, again with the targeting, it's like at this point we're just quickly looking to do a search. And what the video I'm doing now, by the way, is a lot slower and a lot more laboured than what I would normally do because obviously I'm explaining it. But with firefighter wife, we could instead put like firefighter in, choose gender, women, and relationship status, married. You know, and then we get 1.2 million people. Or we could even put in some of these more targeted firefighting terms like firefighters worldwide, uh, firefighter magazine, get rid of our big broad term, and then we've got 100,000 people, which is that sweet spot. So you know there are different ways to target these kinds of sub niches using demographics and other things, but I'll just get rid of all this because again we're not necessarily looking to get this crazy and this advanced to start with. We're just looking to sort of brainstorm. But yeah, firefighter wife is an option. Firefighter, was it military firefighter, I think, which is kind of an interesting one because I know that the militaries can be a good niche as well. So if it's like a combination of military and firefighter, then there's something there. So that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. So I'm just going to leave that. Military firefighter corps was like 120k or something. So yeah, firefighter seems to be like a pretty good niche. And I'm just going to go over to TView here, and you can see that I'm on TView and I've clicked on best selling by numbers, and I've put the keywords, our keyword in, which is firefighter. And the question now is, and this will arrange it by the most sales, which you can see 3,600, 1,000. But the question now is, how big is this niche? How many results does this get? Does firefighter get? And if you remember, TView searches all of the T-shirt campaigns on Teespring, so it kind of scans Google and Twitter and then lists them all in one place. So the question is, how many results appear on Teespring? And the answer is a lot. There's over 19 pages of results. You can see even like the result 10 still getting 300 sales. And again, TView doesn't show all of the sales, it only shows the ones that appear on Google. So actually there's probably many more people within this niche selling successfully within the firefighter niche on Teespring. Now you might remember that my kind of opinion on Teespring was kind of like a bit schizophrenic. On one hand, it's good to see people selling. On the other hand, everyone's going to be searching this site, doing this search, and seeing that the firefighter niche is big, and it kind of concerns me slightly, because it's just going to make it difficult for us to, do well, basically. So let me try military firefighter, which is one of the variations that we were kind of looking at there, this military firefighter core. So no results. That's kind of good, because that makes me think that could be a good niche. But I'm just going to write down here, however, many results on Teespring, which concerns me. Massive competition. And probably there will be. So while yes, I'm interested in firefighters, my concern is that that might be too competitive. So we might have to find a sub niche, military firefighters or something like that. The other thing that we can do with these searches is we can put in family members. We could put keyword firefighter mom in. Let's see if that brings anything up. So yeah, so that does bring a few results up, but not actually that many, which is kind of cool. So that could actually be a good niche. There's only 4 results there on Amazon. So firefighter wife, let's try that. That one brings more results up, so that's kind of a bit too many for me. So I think probably I'm going to put down military firefighter seems like no competition, and fire mom low Teespring results, but firefighter wife seems played out and maybe too many results. So that's kind of the first step. So let me just go back here, and for the firefighter mom, I'll just show you how we target that as well. And again, this is something that should become pretty quick. Should be pretty quick as you go through these. I'll just put in some of these more targeted keywords. Firefighters worldwide. Like I say, I'm guessing that's a magazine. Firefighter magazine. So I'm guessing this is a website. 640,000 people. But let's choose women who are parents. Okay. What we're looking for here, remember, is firefighter moms, and that drops it down a lot. But then let's put in, presumably most firefighters are aged at least 20. So the moms have to be at least 40, I would imagine. So let's put age 40 and up, and that brings it down to 130,000 people. In fact, we could probably push that up even further, maybe push it up to say 45 maybe. So these are women who are parents who like firefighter stuff, so probably a fair percentage of them are firefighter moms. And from targeting just these 2 interests, that puts us roughly in that range. So firefighter mom also has good results, also has 100k audience on FB. Military firefighter has 120k audience. So straight away we've, within a couple of seconds there, really within a couple of minutes, we've seen that yes, firefighters is a good niche, but there's too much competition on TView, which suggests that it's going to be too many people all competing, too many designs, too much. It's just kind of been rinsed. Whereas firefighter mom and military firefighter are 2 better niches. So again, at this point, I'm not looking to do insano like research on this. Okay, so that kind of that's my research done really for this. Just from spending 5 minutes playing around with the targeting. um, I'm now going to go through some of these other ones, and hopefully I'll cut through some of these a lot quicker. So let me just start with these three that I'm hopeful that you never know, but I'm hopeful I can actually get rid of these and just move on. But we'll see. So let me just clean all of this up. Again, we start with Facebook when we're doing our searches. So let me just return all this to 18 plus. In the US, both men and women, no interest selected. 176 million people, so it's clean. And our next one was typists. Okay, so these are typists, 10,000 people. Nope. We can also target people via profession, although I'm sure this isn't going to be any better, but I'll just do that for the purposes of this. So job title, typist. Okay, less than 1,000 people. It's not looking good, is it? Typist, encoder, receptionist, typist. I could probably add all these, but really, yeah, I mean, 6,000 people. Typist, encoder. Um, yeah, it's just not going to work, is it? So you can see how quickly that one went. Unlike firefighters, where you put typist in here, 9,000 people. No, there's no variations that come up. Okay, you put firefighters in, and you get loads and loads and loads of variations. So you can put firefighting. There's all kinds of stuff you can put in. So you can see there the difference between a very good niche, which in actual fact is so big and so good that we have to cut it down, and a bad niche that just leads nowhere. So typist is gone. The next one is stamp collectors. Okay, so stamp collecting. Oh, okay, this looks like it could be quite a good one. 230,000 people, not a bad number. Only 36,000 though in the US. So I'm going to try and put in a few more here. Stamp collection, and I'm looking for the big ones because I have to bump this up to really 100,000 people for it to be worth our while. So yeah, 12,000. Royal Mail stamps collectible. I think this might be like a British thing, so I'll add it, but I suspect there's not many people in the US because it's British. No, only 36,000 people. Um, at this point, I'm probably just going to kill this one. I'm just going to give it one last go. Stamps. Collecting stamps. Green stamps. Don't know what that is. Stamps.com. I'm just going to give it one last go. Okay, stamps.com. I don't know if that's relevant or if that's something else. We'll search it on TView as well. And I'm also, while that's searching, I'm just going to go over to eBay and put in stamp t-shirt. I just want to see if there's any results on eBay. Also, you'll see sometimes you'll put a word in and the results won't relate to that niche. So you'll put like stamping and it'll be stamped because it's been it refers to the design. So you'll put like blue in which will be like a reference to, like, let's say a sports team, like the Blue City so and so's, and you'll get like loads of results because it'll be blue t-shirts or whatever. So you can see here that stamp, it's not really giving us the result that we want. That's obviously a picture of a stamp, but it looks like it's more related to birds of some kind. So there's kind of not that much there that's of any use. I'm going to put stamp collector in. It's probably not going to bring anything up, but you never know. Okay, interesting. Keep calm and collect stamps. So that's actually pretty much what we'd want to do. Um, not keep calm and collect stamps a lot. That might be a thing, but I mean, the kind of t-shirt, that's the kind of t-shirt that we'd want to sell. It's simple, text-based, little slogan. That's quite cool actually. Okay, live, breathe, and sleep stamps. So this is also generated. That's also an idea. Another variation of a design. This is what an epic stamp collector looks like. So yeah, I mean, okay, it looks like unfortunately, TView has committed suicide, so I'm not entirely sure we'll be able to get that one working. It was doing this playing up just before the video. But in any event, as I've mentioned previously, I don't like to depend on Teespring and TView. I like to look outside it. And this, as you can see, is just a perfect example. And what we can also do, I don't know if it'll work in this case, but occasionally some of these t-shirts are sold as batches, and it'll actually show you how many of them have sold. So let's see, keep calm and okay, it doesn't say, but sometimes it'll say, you know, more than 10 available, 19 sold, and that can be a really good indicator that you know it's a good t-shirt, a good niche to be in. I'm also going to do a similar search on Amazon.com. So I'll put in stamp collector again, got stamps, presumably that targets stamp collectors. And as I mentioned on eBay, you can sometimes see sales. It'll say like 8 sold here, more than available, 10 available, 9 sold or whatever. The equivalent on Amazon is if you scroll down, it'll say sales rank. So, you know, that's a pretty poor number to be honest. Ideally, we want to see like 5 digits, so like, you know, 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, kind of 100,000 tops. If we get much outside that, much bigger than that, tends to be a little bit too much, really. We can also do a search on Pinterest. I wasn't going to introduce this till later, but the cool thing about Pinterest is not a lot of people use it, but there are a lot of like text slogans. So like lots of like might not even be any examples here. I'll just go back to the firefighter one that I just had open. So you can see I put firefighter in as a search, and you can see that we've got like that would be perfect on a t-shirt. Keep calm and gear up. Keep calm and love your firefighter. I mean, it's obviously an actual top, so that's even better. Remember, I'm with you every step of the way. You're here in my heart each and every day. You know, there's lots of like slogans that you'll find on Pinterest that you can use. You know, so I mean, this one, for example, women firefighters, we do the same job, we just look better doing it. So I mean, that could be a slogan for a T-shirt targeting female firefighters. But I kind of want to don't want to go off track too much. Where we're up to here is we've put stamps.com in. We've put in a few variations, so stamp collecting, stamp collection. Let me just get rid of stamps. And we've kind of seen that the audience, if we include stamps.com, goes over 100,000. If it doesn't include that, stamp coin, you know, these aren't going to bump the numbers up too much. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, 48,000 people. We could probably push that up to 100,000 people. And because we are seeing some results on you know, on eBay and Amazon, although not really on Pinterest. I could also, by the way, do a search on Zazzle, which, you know, I was kind of looking to introduce these a little bit later, but I might as well roll in some of these sites now. So yeah, I mean, again, the word stamp seems to be pulling up things that don't necessarily relate to the stamp niche. It's more like this kind of thing here, this design element's called a stamp. But there are some pictures of stamps. So for this one, I'm going to write down only 36k audience, obvious, but some results on eBay and Amazon, but also very few on Pinterest, Zazzle, etc. And by the way, I wouldn't just search Zazzle, I'd search Redbubble, I'd search Etsy, I'd search Winalo maybe. But for the purposes of this video, I kind of, you know, because we are moving so quickly, I don't want to be doing the same searches across multiple sites when it's kind of obvious what I'm doing, and often the results will be kind of similar across them. So this is a maybe. So I'm not going to get rid of it, but I'm just going to sort of go, yeah, maybe, you know. So let's just start with the next one, which is bird watchers. So these are people who like to watch birds. There might be a term for it that I'm not aware of, but oh, perfect. Bird. So again, we've put in our keyword, and this is what we love to see. We want to see lots of results that relate to that. So Birdwatchers Digest, that sounds like a magazine, that sounds perfect, and straight away that gives us our 100,000 number. So, the Facebook targeting side of this is fulfilled instantly. We've got a good targeted magazine there. Let me just see if I can resuscitate TView. While I wait for that to come back to life, I'm just going to do another search. Bird Watcher t-shirt on eBay. Not entirely sure what that is. Okay. Ornithology, that's the word I was looking for. That's the technical term for bird watching. 8 people watching, so, not really sales as such, but Keep Calm, I'm a Bird Watcher, obviously probably the same guys before, I would guess, doing his thing. Bird Watcher, but that's more Angry Birds, that's kind of a joke. Keep Calm, I'm a Bird Watcher. Bird Nerd, that's quite a good one. Um, Nothing particularly. Okay, another Keep Calm one. Another one there. This is what an awesome bird watcher looks like. 2 people watching, 3 people watching. So twitching. I think this is like the technical term for. I can't remember how I found this out, but this is like the technical term for, or like the slang term for bird watching. If you're a bird watcher, you're a twitcher. Um, so we can maybe search that one. Bird watching evolution. I love birds. So this is kind of one that we could probably come back to. So I kind of 482 results for Birdwatcher t-shirt. Let me just bird watching t-shirt. Okay. I'd rather be bird watching. Pigeons make me happy. I'd rather be bird watching. 108 results, not that many, but there's enough. Again, we'll just click on the first one and we'll just look at the sales rank. Very, very poor sales rank, 1.2 million. Not particularly great. Let me just check this one out. 2 million, not that great either. Let me just do a search on Pinterest. Bird watching. Okay, pictures of birds, which we can't really put. I mean, the thing is as well, you see, what our t-shirts need to be simple. They need to be like a text slogan and a single icon maybe, or even just text. And so we can't put stuff like this. It's just too colourful. It's too expensive. It's too complicated for us to be putting it on a t-shirt. But yeah, stuff like that. Keep calm and go bird watching. 159 pins. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So you can just kind of scan through and see results. So let me just have a quick search now on Zazzle as well. Once more, I would also do the same search on Wanelo, Etsy, and all the other sites that I mentioned, but you'll get similar results. So I'll normally just have eBay, Amazon, maybe Google Images as well open over here, which I'll use for this one now, and possibly one other site, maybe Zazzle. So Bird Nerd, I'd rather be birding. Yeah, so there's loads and loads of t-shirts here. It's a shame that, in fact, let me even just pull this up. And I prefer to search TView rather than Teespring, because the Teespring results are relatively limited. But yeah, I mean, there's a handful. There's like 5 that have either ended or are currently running. So yeah, I actually do like this niche. I do like this niche quite a bit. You can see that we've got 482 results on eBay, and maybe 100 results on Amazon. We do have some results on Pinterest, although they're not. Most of them are just images. But then we also have lots and lots of results on Zazzle. So this is kind of the kind of ideal niche in a sense, where what we're looking for, which is, firstly, we put it into Facebook ads and we get at least one really good result, if not several, which brings us straight up to our 100,000 number. So boom, straight away. you know, it works for us. We then go over to Teespring and put it in, and we get a few matches, but not that many. But then we go over to eBay and we get a load of matches. Amazon, we get a load of matches, and we start looking at other sites and we get even more matches. So this might be the perfect example of us taking a niche that not many people know about, and bringing it over to over to Teespring basically. And then finally, we could also do a similar search, bird watching t-shirts on Google. I just like to do it on Google Images just so I can quickly see everything. And you can see that, yeah, there's quite a few of those as well. So that's a good one. So yes, I like this niche. 100k plus easy on FB ads. Few Teespring results, but not many, and several t-shirts on Zazzle, especially lots on Zazzle actually, which is really good. Amazon, eBay, etc. Definitely a good niche. So I like that niche. That's a good one. Again, in the interest of me cutting through these, let me just try and find some niches that I suspect might not be as good. Although, as you've seen, one of the niches I thought we'd quickly get rid of actually turned out to be probably my favourite one so far, or maybe one of my favourite ones. You might think that the firefighter one was like easily the best, but the thing with that again is that there seems to be a lot of people on Teespring, and that always kind of makes me slightly nervous. Whereas if I can find a niche where there's lots of t-shirts outside of Teespring but not many on Teespring, that tends to be a good one. So, but let me just try and put some of these in that, you know, we can hopefully put some, you know, move more quickly through. That might not be the case. You might end up getting stuck in on these two, but I'll just work through them. So what else? Journalists, maybe there's not that many journalists, but you'll be surprised. So Warcraft is the next one. So like I say, Warcraft is like an online computer game. It's like a multiplayer computer game that people can play. World of Warcraft. 29 million people, of which 5.6 million in the US. So it's a huge niche, as you can see, and it's probably too big, really, in a lot of ways for us. You can see that there's lots of sub games coming up. I presume these are different versions of the same game. Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, The Burning Crusade, and they've all got very big numbers. You know, so you can see, but if I start putting in like, you know, different letters and stuff, you know, Warcraft T, Warcraft P, Warcraft Z, Warcraft. This is, I've mentioned this before, this is kind of a cool trick, is just to put letters in Warcraft series and then just, you know, Google throw stuff up. But I mean, yeah, this is throwing out enough results that we can at least say, without going into too much depth, you know, this is a huge niche. We'd probably have to sub-niche it and find a section of it, but it's at least an audience that's big enough that, you know, we can potentially target. So let's just go over to Teespring and put the word Warcraft in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's quite a few of them. There's kind of like 10 or 15 of them, which does concern me a little bit, especially when there's only one that's got 30 sales. So it's kind of lots of people are trying and not many people are having success. Let me go over to eBay and search Warcraft t-shirt. One thing as well that I've not really talked about is the idea that with these t-shirts they need to be ones that we can copy. So like that one, it's a cool t-shirt, but we can't copy that easily because it's lots of colours. It's like a trademarked image probably. BlizzCon, I think that's like some kind of conference for maybe probably the Blizzard company that owns Warcraft. So that's copyrighted. So even though that looks cool, even if it's got 3 bids and there seems to be buyers there, we can't really, you know, copy it for various reasons. World of Warcraft, again, that's kind of trademark, so we can't use that. An image, so we can't easily use that. The Horde, that might not be trademarked, I'm not sure. 6 people watching. 2 people watching. Let's just scroll back up. So 1,492 results. Let me just put a similar search in here. Warcraft t-shirts. I'd rather be playing WoW. Okay, that's the kind of thing that we would do, I suppose. Simple text-based t-shirt. Um, Sales rank 51,000. Yeah, that's exactly what we're after. So, um, you know, I'm thinking the only issue with this is that I'd rather be playing Warcraft. Is we're going to have to find, a more targeted set of niches here because, um, Warcraft guides. Is that going to bring anything up? The Last Guardian. Yeah, I mean, referred to it as WoW, didn't they? We're going to have to basically, this is going to be one that, oh, wow, Bizro. We're going to have to come back to this, the targeting, because while I'm happy with the fact that the niche is big enough, I'm slightly concerned about the targeting. In fact, let me even just go over to Google and put in Warcraft t-shirts and see if any of the t-shirts suggest like words that we can maybe re-enter. So Dalaran, is that something? Dalaran, no. So what I'm saying is it's a big niche, but it's probably too big for the Horde. So again, it's that word Horde that we've seen. Horde W for Warcraft, Rise of the Hordes, 31,000. Warcraft Horde. No, not really. So yeah, so I mean, so I'm just going to write down for this one. Maybe huge niche, but can't easily see small FB targeting, all like 3 million plus interests. That said, did see several results on Teespring, probably not good sign necessarily, because again, Teespring results shows us competition. So we saw results on Teespring, and but did see results on Amazon too with good bestseller rank. So it's a maybe, that one. So that's a maybe, that's a maybe, that's a definite, and firefighters is a definite, but with two sub niches we're going to have to target. Next one, caretakers. So caretaker, property caretaker. Okay, so only 1,200 people. Caretaker manager. Yeah, there's not really too much coming up here. Is the animal caretaker, musician? Don't know what that is. So yeah, that's a no-go, that one. So nope to caretaker, get rid of that. Taxidermy. Oh, a lot of people. It's probably too many people. Let me try that again and see if we can find a more targeted. Taxidermy, a taxidermist. Advanced taxidermy, crappy taxidermy. It kind of concerns me a little bit as well when, because the thing about Facebook, you see, is I've mentioned this in an earlier video. They basically start with like they look at all kinds of data. So just because someone's got an interest which is taxidermy, it doesn't mean necessarily that those people are like full-time taxidermists. A taxidermist, by the way, is just someone who stuffs animals. So, I knew it was going to be a weird one, but I just thought I'd include it for the case study. But so, according to Facebook, there's 1.1 million people who have an interest in taxidermy, which I think is a little bit high. And what concerns me is, while there's a million people who've got an interest in taxidermy, there's only 2,000 people who have an interest in taxidermist, which is the actual profession. So it's kind of weird. I mean, if we put in firefighter, then there's 12 million people who've got an interest. If we put in firefighting, then there's 3.6 million people. So it's only like a difference of like 4 times, you know. But if we put in taxidermy, there's 1.1 million people, and if you put in taxidermist, there's only 2,000 people. So it's like a difference of like what, like 500 times or something crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is like something else, if this is like a group, or this is people, you know, like, because you'll see like crappy taxidermy. This, like, I've seen that as like a viral thing online. Is like bad taxidermy that's been done. So I guess what I'm saying is that I don't believe that this number is actually people who are interested in taxidermy. I don't believe that Facebook have done a good job of targeting. Just because when I put in taxidermy, I've got this huge number, 1.1 million people, and then I've got tiny numbers, 2,000, 2,000. I'm guessing that's probably like, again, something not related to it. Advanced taxidermy, 12,000, you know, 13. So custom taxidermy, that might be possibly more related. But if I put that in, you know, it's only 1,500 people. So a bit of a weird one there, but yeah, I'm not going to include that. Lizard owners, okay. So this is a bit of a funny one because, you know, there are lots of kinds of lizards. Lizard lounge, obviously that's a place. Lizard lick towing, I don't know what that is. Maybe some kind of like, if your car breaks down. Lizard, 2 million people. You know, too big. But then if we put in lizard, then Facebook rather, will suggest gecko, California king snake, um, albinism. Presumably that's when a lizard, you know, goes white or whatever. Um, Reptiles. So we've got a few here. I like gecko actually. Let me put that in because that's kind of targeted but also quite big. 500,000 people. So let me go over to uh, Teespring. So we've got a big enough number there. We've put reptile in, or lizard in, knowing that it probably was going to be a bit too broad. Um, Facebook led us to the interest gecko. We've put that in. That falls within our range of 100,000 to a million. Put it into Teespring, and we've got results. But you know, from the looks of it, it like get, you know, Mac Nut, get fresh toast. So obviously that's just like their slogan. So Um, yeah, the only one I think here that seems to be related to geckos is this one. The more people I meet, the more I like my leopard gecko. Okay, so, you know, nothing really much going on, only 4 results, of which really probably one or at most 2 relate to geckos. Let's quickly go over to eBay. Gecko t-shirt. Again, because it's quite broad, we have to be prepared for the fact that probably a lot of these results aren't going to be people that own geckos, but we'll quickly scan through them. This is obviously like an insurance company in the States, so, you know, doesn't help us much. Yeah, kind of not anything too great there. Let me just go over to Zazzle, Gecko t-shirt. Okay, got geckos, so, you know, that is one. Um, Gecko Ninja. Don't really know what that is a reference to. I love geckos. I love leopard geckos. Leopard geckos. So it actually seems, let me even go back actually and put in leopard geckos and see if we can make it a bit more targeted. So leopard geckos. So only 74,000 people, but you know, I'll kind of allow it for the purposes of us just running this quick search because it is kind of on the fringes. Leopard gecko t-shirt now, so we've put something more refined in. Our guy actually over here, whoever he is, he's actually put this in already. Unfortunately, he's only sold none. That could just be his design, you know, it doesn't mean the niche is bad as such. Chances are he is using this targeting because I can't, you know, you put leopard gecko in, that's like the only thing that comes up. There's only 2 interests really. But you know, I'll at least give it a quick search. So yeah, 1 result there. Nothing particularly special on eBay. Leopard gecko t-shirt. We'll do the same search on Amazon. I love my leopard gecko. You know, nothing particularly mind-boggling here. Just do a quick search on Pinterest. probably it's just going to load up pictures of leopard geckos, actually, this, which isn't what we want. Yeah. Um, leopard gecko t-shirts. Just get a glass of water. Yeah, so I mean, keep calm and buy a leopard gecko. There are t-shirts here. You know, it's kind of, I kind of like it in the sense that there is targeting 76,000 people. Not a great number, but it's there. Excuse me. There's not much competition on Teespring, which is kind of good. But then there's also not a huge amount of action on Amazon and eBay, although there are some on Zazzle. The other thing that concerns me, actually, now that I look at these, it's just kind of caught my eye, is I think these are like children models. From the looks of it, you know, these seem to be children. Maybe that's the problem. Is that, you know, adults, i.e., people with money, don't really buy leopard gecko stuff. Maybe that's the issue, and maybe that's our answer. So let us, you know, I would normally just delete this, by the way, but I'm just going to write it down so you can see the logic. Led us to leopard geckos. Um, one result on Teespring. Not much action on any t-shirt sites except Zazzle, but we're all children. Also, only, was it 76k audience or something? So no. So we're not going to go into that one. We ended up putting lizards in, sent us to leopard geckos, did a bit of a search, and you know, found not really any action anywhere apart from on Zazzle, where all the people wearing it are kids. In fact, even if we go back and we put in, like, if you watch this number 76,000, we drop it down from 76. Well, actually, it's not really increased it much. I thought it would. I thought it'd like double the audience because it'd all be young people. But in any event, you know, we're not going to do that one. So let's get rid of that one. Journalism. 304 million people, 44 million in the States. Not much use, because obviously that doesn't mean there are 44 million journalists in the States. It just means that, again, Facebook's algorithms determine that, you know, 44 million people like journalism. So probably if you share like a picture of, you know, something from like Viral Feed or like BuzzFeed or Viral Nova or one of these, like, you know, sort of cheesy kind of tabloid style sites, they'll put you in that box. That's not what we're after. We want people who are journalists. So even journalists, 20 million people. Journalists for human rights, that's probably slightly better, 100,000 people. Journalist. Technology journalism, no. Journalist on Facebook, and again, I'm looking at these numbers. Let me just quickly just do something. Job title, because this is essentially what we're after, professions. Freelance journalist, 15,000 people. Journalist, job titles, 34,000 people. And this is good, by the way, because with job titles, they are very small numbers. So if we can put, you know, if we get like, I mean, let me even just put in job title firefighter, and we only get like 68,000 people. Whereas if we put firefighter over here, then we get like, you know, 5 million people. So for me to put in journalist here, and get like, was it 18,000, and then for freelance journalist was like, and obviously there's different variations. So I'm quite confident that we could get that number up. You know, journalist, anchor, editor, writer, etc. We can get this number up to maybe 100,000 people, not necessarily from adding various job titles, but from, you know, looking at interests. So like journalist award, maybe. No, okay. Journalist, what's that? Journalist today. You know, so it's kind of like terms like that, or journalist school, or journalist blog. Okay, National Association of Black Journalists. That's perfect. Um, so let me just remove those job titles there. So yeah, I mean 176,000 people. So it's not that I would necessarily target that particular interest, or even that I would target journalists with the job titles, but at the very least, the word journalist has passed this stage. So what I want to do now is move on to the next stage, which is actually looking to see if there are t-shirts for sale. You might notice as well that I've not had to, like none of these niches, I've not got to the stage of having to see if there's, in general, if there's like any, general products. So it's like, if you remember, I said that ideally I want t-shirt sales. If there are no t-shirt sales, then ideally I have to see, at the very least, I have to see people buying things in general, and if that's not there, then I at least have to see that people are passionate. Well, all the niches, we've not even got to the stage of are the products there. We've literally just kind of discounted them very, very quickly, and that's the benefit of starting with a big list. Is you have such a high threshold for stuff you'll allow that you don't need. It's not like, oh, well, there's no t-shirts, well, let me see if there are products. Oh, there are no products, well, let me see if people are passionate. Well, you know what, I don't have much choice, so I'll include it anyway. It's not like that. When you have lots and lots of niches, you'll just cut through stuff, and you'll be, if it's not up to your standards, if there aren't any t-shirts, if you can't reach it on Facebook, you'll just get rid of it. So anyway, I've decided to do this, start our search with Google. Journalists get laid off. Pretty funny. My resume's on the back of the t-shirt. Obama, I report for CNN. That's a Redbubble one, which, as you know, is one of the sites. Journalists do it on the front page. Let me just do a search on Zazzle. Journalist t-shirt. Okay, Sabre journalist by a newspaper, newspaper journalist, journalist by day. Yeah, this is a good niche. Lots and lots of t-shirts there. Now let's give Teespring a search. Hopefully there's not too many results on Teespring, or it'll break my heart. It won't break my heart, but yeah, there's a few. There is quite a few. Yeah, there's actually a lot here. So that, as you know, that's something that generally turns me off. If there's lots and lots of competition, you can see some of them do have some sales, but it's, I'll just have a quick scan and see if there's any sub niches. Because at this point, I'm thinking, okay, fine, but are there any that are selling here that maybe like war journalist or newspaper journalist, or okay, so newspaper shirts, 5 sold. See if we can find a sub niche. Ferguson, this is that political movement, which is something different. So yeah, so it's kind of a shame, but it looks like the Teespring crowd have kind of got hold of this one. In fact, it looks like a lot of these aren't actually relating to journalism, which is kind of a good sign. The first ones are, though, the first maybe 2 pages of results, which kind of does concern me, actually, if I'm honest. So for this one, I'm going to put maybe, but too many Teespring results. Good news is quite clearly very good Facebook targeting, but not that many but I was going to put, yeah, especially with professions, like 40k just off that, but and many Zazzle results, but concerned by lots of Teespring competition. So no, so we're not going to do that one. I've also just looked at the time, because I've been trying to spell everything out. We have spent quite a bit of time. It's now approaching an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and then we'll just carry on exactly where we're up to now, but with a new video. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in a second in part 2.